Welcome back, guys. This is part 2 of the 400EX rebuild. Still waiting on parts. I want to keep this thing going. So I think I'll start doing some cosmetics today. I'm going to tackle the front wheel, show you guys how what I did to get the outer bead protector cleaned up, clear coated, reinstalled. Probably going to tackle the A-arm protectors, try to bring those back a little bit, make them look better, and then I will show you the reassembly of a bead protector wheel with the tire. So that's what I got planned for you today, and let's set up now. I'm just going to get right into it. I'll take this bead off. That's out of there, and we'll pop this off. Alright, there you have it. So that's what the bead protector looks like, front and back. And we'll clean all this up, get this all looking good, and allow the tire to seat properly and hold air. So let me pull the tire off now. That's part of the process of cleaning this thing up. Let's move on to refinishing. Alright, so I set up outside, try to keep the garage a little bit clean. I do have the engine kind of opened up, so I don't want to get debris in it, so I'll do this outside. First thing I want to do is I want to clean the area that seats against the tire and the inner rim, or wheel, so to speak. Then I'll work on the front. So what I'm going to use for that is just a standard right angle grinding wheel, grinder, and a wire wheel. I got that wire wheel at Harbor Freight, pretty cheap, works pretty good. Alright, it's probably going to be a little bit of noise, but bear with me, I'm going to get this done now. Well, you guys get the idea. I'll turn it back on when I finish. Alright, we got the back side done. You can see here, it doesn't have to be fancy. Basically all you want to do is just get all the crud off. Give it a good surface to mate with the tire so you get a good seal. You also want this potentially to sit flush with the wheel. It also creates a better bond as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it on the back side. On the front, same deal. I'm just going to remove the paint, and I'll show you a little bit of it now, and then I'll stop and come back when it's done. So that's pretty much the process. I'm going to repeat it on the rest of it. I'm not going to sit here and video the whole thing, but you guys get the idea. I'll be back when I'm done. Alright, so this is the finished product. Took me about 15 minutes or so to completely remove the red paint. I'm not worried about inside the counterboards because I'm going to paint those black anyways, and I'll show you that when we get to it. At this point right here, I don't see any real big nicks or gouges. I think that we can just go ahead and start sanding. On one of the other aluminum rings that I had on the other side, it was pretty gouged and nicked, so I took a file and I smoothed everything out. This one here already looks pretty smooth. I mean, it's gouged and nicked, but not too concerned with that. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a standard palm sander. I think this is 120 grit, maybe 240, no, 120 grit, and I'm just going to go around this thing and smooth it out and make it look good. Kind of get it uniform, maybe get some of the swirl marks out from the wire wheel. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see the difference already. It just kind of gives it a more uniform look. I'm going to do the rest of this and then turn you back on when I'm done. Alright, so that's the finished product. Again, it's not 100% perfect, not even close, but it's 100% better than it was. And we got nice clean surfaces to mate up with the tire and the wheel. And this has been smoothed out pretty well. I got all that crappy looking paint off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a quick wet sand. I don't know if I need to show you guys that. I'm sure most of you already know how to wet sand. So I'm not gonna record that. But I am gonna wet sand it, and I'm not gonna go crazy wet sanding it. I'm just gonna do a directional wet sand, and I'll come back when I'm done. Alright, so I have it all cleaned up. I wiped it down, dried it off, and it's pretty shiny now. It's not perfect. It's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for better. So at this point now, what I'm going to do is these counterboards, kind of difficult to get in there and get that red paint out, so I'm just going to paint them black like I did on the other wheels. Seemed to work out pretty good. Looks good, and you don't see much of it anyways once the wash is in there. I just don't want to see any of the red at all. I'd rather see black, and that's the reason for this. So I'm just going to use basically a cheap little acid brush. I mean, you can buy them 50 count at Harbor Freight or Home Depot, pretty cheap, nothing fancy there. Just some standard Rust-Oleum paint, again, nothing fancy. I'll do a couple, give you an idea what it's going to look like, and then finish it up and come back and show you the end result. So I'm just going to run this around here like this. Again, nothing fancy. I'm not looking for showroom Concord quality, concourse quality, I guess is the word we're looking for. What I'm looking for is better. And in the end, if you're gonna, you know, pick up quads, fix them, and turn them over or flip them for resale value, the better they look, the more they're worth. So every little, even these little details right here help. And you can see there's really not much to this. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest, come back and show you the end. Alright, I got them all painted. Again, it's not perfect. I'm not too concerned with the fact that I got paint on the face of the aluminum, because what I'll do once this dries tomorrow, I will hit this top surface directionally once again with 400 grit sandpaper, and I'll get all the brush marks off that are on the main face here, and then I'll wipe it all down real good with some mineral spirits, and then I'll clear coat it. I don't think I need to show you guys all that stuff. I'll show you the product when it's all done. Alright, well, I'm waiting for the paint to dry on those wheels. As you can see, I have them off. I think I'll tackle this A-arm control protector here, lower control arm protector I should say, and show you guys how I'm going to clean that up, make that look better. There's three bolts attaching it with brackets down inside there, as you can see. I'll take those brackets off, pull that. It looks like there's some bends to it. There's a bit of a bend there. I think I saw another bend up under here. Yeah, it's kind of a, I don't know if you can see it. Looks like I hit a rock or something there. So I'm going to straighten all that out in the vise with a hammer and whatever I need to do it with, block of wood, who knows. I'll show you how I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up on the tripod and then pull that off. Alright, spinning, I gotta get a screwdriver. Alright, we get it off. So, as you can see, I don't know why someone put a sticker on the bottom of it, but anyway, you can see there's a pretty good bow to it. Bit of a smash on there too. So we'll straighten this out and then we'll go about cleaning it up, putting a clear coat on it, and we'll go from there. Alright, we're over here at the vise. Let's see if we can straighten this thing out. Start with that bow right there. Probably the easiest one to straighten out first. Let's give that a shot. I'm just working this a little bit at a time. Not going to get it perfect, but I will get it straighter than it was. That's for sure. As you can see now, I mean, that's a lot better than it was. Let's take a look at this side here. Look at that. Let's try straightening that out. For anyone out there who's got a garage, I'd say your best tool, and the one you really should spend the most time, well, the one you will spend the most time with if you do any kind of fabricating or restoring or rebuilding, is a bench vise. And this one here I got from my dad. It's pretty old. It's rugged. They don't make them like this anymore. It's kind of rusty right now, but this has a pivot, so you can pivot it to hold things on an angle and whatnot. It's a good vise. It's old. It says it's a Colombian. Not sure who makes that. Obviously Colombian. how old it is, but he had it on his work cart when he before he retired, and when he retired, they let him take all his tools home and all that. So he gave it to me, and I've had it ever since. And I probably this thing is one of the most used tools in my garage, to be honest with you. I use it all the time for everything. It's like, if anything else, it's like having a second set of hands. Well, that's looking better. Bend it a little bit more. A little bit deeper. And I'm not putting a lot of force on this. It is aluminum, and it bends pretty easy. I think that's the whole point of it, is to absorb the shock, save the A-arm if you hit something in the woods, a rock or something. It's looking a little better too. Alright, I'm going to cut it off here. I'm going to tweak this up, tweak it around a little bit more, get it a tiny bit better, and then we'll get into how I'm going to refinish it. Alright, I'm set up outside. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. So, I went ahead and I already cleaned up inside these slots here. I don't know if you can see it down in here. Nothing fancy. I don't care if they're scorn. Basically, I used a round file or a rat tail, whatever you guys prefer to call them. So the last slot is right here. I didn't do that yet, but I figured I'd show you real quick how I did that on the others. Nothing crazy. Just run it down in there. It gets all the crud out. I mean, there's no other way to do it, really. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, it looks much better. I missed a spot there. And you can take as much off as you want. Again, it's aluminum, it comes off really quick, the material. So, what I'm going to do now is kind of the same process I used on the rings for the wheels. I'm just going to hit it with a palm sander, 120 grit, and I'll hit the bottom real quick. I don't really care what the bottom looks like because you're not going to see it. Just give you an idea what it looks like. Hit the radius. So you can see already, it looks much better than that. The bottom's a bit nicked and dented. I don't care about that, you're not going to see it. This is pretty smooth. I got it really about as straight as I want to spend the time to get straight. I'm going to polish this really good, and then I'm going to clear it. It'll shine. I think I want to leave it with this swirled look, this swirled palm sander look. I think it's a pretty good look. It'll have a little bit of sheen to it because I'm going to use clear when I paint it. So let's go ahead and do this now. Alright, you can see already that it looks much better. I'm gonna sand it a little bit more before I clear coat it. Clean the back up a little bit with some water, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna cut it off here. I think I'll video the clear coat process on this just because I didn't do it on the rims. But all right, let me go finish sanding this up, clean the rest of the dirt off, prep it, get it ready for paint. I'll be back. Alright, it's all washed up. I sanded it up, I mean, as good as I care about. It's going to get nicked and smashed again. I just did this initially to make it look a little better. I'm just going to use some regular clear gloss Got it at Home Depot. I think it was $4 for the can. Probably do one coat, maybe two, we'll see. I got it propped up like this because the front is more important. You know, that's the part that shows than the bottom. I don't really care about the bottom. You could really get carried away polishing aluminum, and you could get a mirror finish on this if you really want to. I mean, because it's already nicked and dented, you're not going to take those out. So at this point I don't care, because this is for protection for the lower control arms, and I don't really care for that mirrored look to begin with. So this matted finish look that the palm sander gives you is good enough for me, and there'll be a gloss over it to protect it. And you can do this every spring, or do it during the winter, and if you want to clean your bike up before you take it out for riding for the season. The palm sander will just take this clear off if you do it long enough, and then you can just re-clear it and it'll look good again. But it's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. I'm just alright, let me just do this. Spray it up, give you guys an idea what I'm doing here. So again, I don't really care about the back. I mean, I'm actually getting runs on it right now, which I don't care. If you're not going to see it anyways, that's just to protect it so it doesn't get tarnished and dirt sticks to it easily. With the clear coat, you know, dirt and grime and whatnot, you should be able to hose it off or pressure wash it off, because it won't stick to it like it will bare aluminum. So I'm going to let this set up for a minute. I'm probably going to hit it again, maybe 3 times, and that's basically the process that I'm going to use on the other side as well. And when it's all done, I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so let's put this front wheel back together with the bead protector and all. So as you can see, fresh coat of black paint, looks good. I didn't paint on here. I got a little overspray on it, but I wasn't really planning on painting this. Just the inside. The bead itself is set against the step, so it's actually down probably maybe 1/8 of an inch from this surface, the bead. You can't really see it, but you want to make sure that you pull it back with a screwdriver and snap. There's like a little tiny thin lip on the end of the tire. You want to make sure you get that behind it. You don't want that little lip between the two pieces, sandwiched between the two pieces, because then you're not going to get a good seal and your tire is going to leak. Right now, the bead is good. I have it sitting on a coffee can like this. You can see right here. It's because I don't want the tire on the ground. The tire is off the ground by about 1 inch right now. And that's because if you put it on the ground and I start pushing on this, you're gonna the tire is gonna tend to want to pop back up off the bead off the rim, and I don't want that to happen. So this way here, I can actually push down on it, and I don't have to worry about the tire fighting me back, because it's actually not on the ground, and I'll be pushing down on the rim itself. So that's the reason for that. So here's a finished bead protector for the front wheel. I don't know if you can see the shine on that. It looks pretty good. I mean, when the sun hits that, it's gonna pop a little bit. Again, it's nicked up. You know, it's not perfect, but that wasn't the intent. The intent was to look better than it did, and clearly it does. I didn't put any clear on the back here. You can see a little bit of black paint came through. That's what the counterboards look like, painted black, from what you can see. And again, I just use an acid brush. For what it's doing, it's perfect. So at this point here, I'm going to put this on, but this part of the bead right here that you can see right in here is going to sit in here, and then you squeeze down on it. It ends up squishing down on the tire, and you want to do it until this piece is on top of this piece, flush. Well, I shouldn't say flush, but touching, so it can't go any tighter. So we're going to do that now, give you an idea of what that looks like. So I'm going to put this on here and line it up like that. And as you can see, it already looks 100 times better. So basically all it is just, it's just nuts and bolts. That's all it is. Nothing fancy. So like I said before, when you get the washer in there, you really don't see much of the black. But the point of me painting them black was I didn't want to see any red. And I pretty much took care of that by painting it with the acid brush. So I'm just going to hand tight these. I'm going to put them all in, get them hand tight. And then as I'm bringing them in, I'll just use a crisscross pattern. Nothing fancy. These are actually not metric. They're 7/16. So I'm assuming that these wheels were produced in the United States. And one thing I did notice about them is the front and the rears are a little bit different. And there's a name on the rears that's not on the front. So I'm thinking that they're not a match set, but they're pretty close. You can't really tell the difference unless you were to take them apart. You can see that the bead rings aren't exactly the same. They're not the same style. They're a little bit different. Like these front wheels use nuts and bolts, and the rear wheels, they have threads in the wheel that you screw the bolt into. I don't know if that's by design or if they're two different wheels, but something I noticed. You know, the other thing too is, let's say, you know, every little bit helps on resale value or whatever. If you're going to flip this bike, you know, doing the wheels like this, you know, they bring the price of the bike up. Anytime anything looks good, people are going to pay more money for it. For instance, if I was just going to sell these wheels and tires as like a set, you know, the way they were, kind of ratty looking, they're probably worth what, a couple $100 maybe, $300 to the right person. Well, in the condition they're in now, even though they're not perfect, I mean, but they do look 100 times better. And what are these? You figure maybe $450, $500 for the set now, just because I put $10 worth of paint on them and a couple hours of time. Oh, needs a washer. And the tool, I didn't use any specialty tools to do the work on here, as I showed you guys. I mean, I use just stuff that most people already have in their garage. Palm sander. I mean, those are pretty cheap. You can get those anywhere, cheap. I used a wire wheel. Again, I got that at Harbor Freight. It was not that much money. The right angle grinder is a Makita. I've had it for a long time. I mean, I don't know what they go for now. I think I might have paid $50 for it when I bought it. But again, none of this stuff is expensive, and I'm not doing anything that most people can't do themselves in their own garage. So this front wheel is a lot easier to work on than the rear. The rear, so it's a lot more difficult, just because of the way the tire extends out so far over the wheel. Let's take a look and see where we're at. We can get it off the chuck now. So if you can see here, just want to take a look at your bead there. You can see there's still a gap there, so these still need to be tightened quite a bit. So I'm gonna do that now. It's hard to get a feel for where they're at unless you flip it up and actually look at it. Take another look. You can see now it's pretty flat. They're touching now, and that's what you want. Here, we'll take a little bit. See what else we got. Yeah, see over here, you can see it's still not touching. So I'm going to bring those in right now and tighten them up. I'm going to turn you guys off for a minute because it's kind of difficult to do this with the camera on top of the way, kind of in the way. Let me bring them all in, tighten it up, and I'll bring you right back. Alright, they're all torqued in now. Let me grab the air compressor, put a little air in the tire. Sorry about that. All right, so at this point, let's take a peek at finished product. Tire's got air in it. I don't expect this thing to go down at all. I don't know if you can see the shine, but it looks really good. And that'll pop in the sunlight. And it'll do two things. It'll be easy to clean. The clear coat will keep it from tarnishing and getting oxidized or whatever. And it definitely looks a ton better than it did red. So basically, what did they cost me? A couple cans of paint, $4 a can. So $8 in paint. A couple hours of time. And the end result is right here. It speaks for itself. I will put the rear tire together off camera. Again, that one's going to be a real pain, and you guys don't want to watch me go through that. So let me see. Let me show you what that lower A-arm aluminum protector looks like finished. Let me go grab it real quick. So this is what it looks like. Of course, that's the bottom. I don't really care much about. So the finish isn't that great. But this is the side that everybody's going to see. There's a bug on it. So you can see how nice it is. It looks much nicer. You can see the sheen on it, how it shines. Move the tire out of the way a little bit. Get a better look. Flashlight. Yeah, I guess that's really not helping. But anyway, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. There it is a little bit. So these are going to pop as well once they're on there. And again, you could really get carried away on here. You could polish these up to almost like a mirror finish if you wanted to. I've done stuff like that in the past. I'm not doing it on this. There's no need for it. This looks plenty good enough for what we're going to do here. I am not going to reinstall these because I plan on painting everything. So I'm just going to set this aside along with the other one, and we'll get back to these later for a reinstall. At this point, I'm going to end video 2, or part 2 I should say, because the wife just came out and said it's dinner time, and I think there's enough, we got enough content to fill part 2 of the 400EX build. Part 3 coming soon. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate it. Thanks.